Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon or morning, wherever you are. Maneco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So the headline of the um, live stream is the Fed, the repo market, QE, but we can talk about anything you guys like as well. But that has been pretty big in the news. I see there's quite a few of you already here. We've got Isabella from Austria. Hi, Isabella. Gary D from Canada. Yeah, I want to talk about Glint. I was surprised about the news. What I've read is that Glint Pay in the UK, they've gone into administration. Glint Pay Inc. in the US hasn't. I've spoken to the guy there today in the US, and they're going to have some kind of announcement tomorrow, so we'll have to wait. I've used my Glint card today, so it's still working. Um, Glint says on its website, the gold you buy via Glint is physical gold that is legally allocated to you in the Brinks vault in Switzerland. Any money you hold on the Glint app is safeguarded in segregated client account. So that's all I can say right now. I'm disappointed about it. I didn't, especially with the fact that they raised 5 million from Sprott over just about a month ago. I'm surprised to hear about this, and it's disappointing. This is one of the other things I was told today by Glint, because they actually went into administration on Wednesday, and I only heard about it today from not from them. It says all client money and gold is safe, ring fenced and segregated as per our terms and conditions. Glint does not lend out client funds. So that's all I can say right now. They will make an announcement tomorrow morning on London time. So hopefully that helps. In the end of the day, as I've said many times, I prefer physical gold. The Glint idea, the card idea is a good idea, but there's always the risk, right? There is a counterparty involved. Okay. Hey, yeah, Billy's here tonight. It was a mixed day today. Yesterday was very nice in the UK, in London. Today it was rainy in the morning and not so nice. Nice to see all the people here. Evander, hi Evander. Drupka Kunli from Cyrus. Uh, Dimitris Sartsanis from Greece. SAC Media, yeah. Glint in the UK, Glint Inc., Glint Pay Inc. in the US has not gone into administration. They're going to announce something tomorrow. I was told the funds should be safe, client funds. Yeah, I'm very surprised and disappointed because from meeting them and everything sounded great. This has come as a shock to me, but anyway, let's keep going. That's why I've always said I hold most of my precious metals physically. Isabella thinks there are trolls everywhere. It probably looks like it, doesn't it, Isabella? Unfortunately. Some people think it could be Trump and Tucker Carlson next running for president. Pablo Pina, can you enlighten me a difference between repo liquidity and QE? Well, QE is just there is. I'm not saying what they're doing with the repo is a great sign. No, it's a very bad sign. What's happening? They're losing control of the credit market, losing control of interest rates. The repo that the Fed's doing, they're doing it every day because a repo, it's an overnight repo, right? So when people say, oh, they've done over 200 billion last week, they haven't, because every day, let's say the 75 billion matures, and then they have to lend that 75 billion again. So there actually hasn't been like 200 billion plus. But I think they're going to have to increase that. They've announced that they're going to keep doing all the repos, these overnight repos until October 10th. They're going to add what they call term repos, which are basically a loan for 2 weeks, and they're going to do 50 billion. So that's 125 billion. QE is just when they basically monetize the market. The Fed just buys and puts it in its balance sheet and never, never matures. But on the repo, they have to keep rolling over. But I think they're going to have to start QE soon. Hopefully, you guys understood that. Yes, James, I do own some Bitcoin. I also have other cryptocurrencies. Rich Winslow, how many more signs do you need? We are on the Titanic. I agree, Rich. I've been saying this for years that nothing was fixed after '08, and the people who were irresponsible were bailed out, and their actions haven't changed. Of course, some people say, "Oh, it's a broken record." But I don't think so. I just think that they've been able to extend it for so long, but one day it will implode. We could be near this point, Rich. Roma Lawal. So yeah, the repo is just. I did a video about the repo. Uh, I think about 10 days ago, or a little more. It's just the funding market amongst Wall Street institutions, banks, dealers, brokerages. They lend each other money using their treasury holdings as collateral. That's all repo is. But what's happened since last week is that these banks were not trusting each other. So that rate went up to 10%. That means that there's some institution on Wall Street, it could be in New York, it could be in London, anywhere, that people don't trust. So the Feds had to step in and basically participate in this repo market. So it's not QE. QE is when the Fed comes in and just buys treasuries and liquefies, Wall Street. This is repos liquefy Wall Street, but usually the Fed doesn't get involved. Hopefully, you guys get that now. Mattel, I'm sorry if I can't get all the questions because there's quite a few people here already. 225. Mattel, what percentage of silver to gold do you think, please? It all depends on your own preference. I have more silver ounces than gold ounces, but in fiat I have more gold. I think it's all personal. Some people prefer silver, some people prefer gold. Gold, of course, is more expensive, but you can buy small. There are 1/20th of an ounce gold coins. There's 5-gram bars, even 1-gram bars, right? So it's up to you. It's personal, in my opinion. I would say, though, that in precious metals bull markets, silver always outperforms. Oh, and that's, nothing's ever for certain, of course. But yeah, silver in a hyperinflation, though, like in Weimar, Germany, didn't do as well because it's too bulky. So gold did better in the hyperinflation. Hi, Ben. Ben Gray. Nice to see you. Pablo Pina understood the repo. That's good. Fall of Rome, Azur says. Well, Azur, I always remember there's a documentary, The Last Days of Lehman, and this is based on fact. There was a meeting at the New York Fed where Hank Paulson, the Secretary of the Treasury, told all the Wall Street executives that the West was effed. I don't want to say the word. And he was right. And we've just been buying time. That's all it is. Australian kangaroos, yes, they're good coins. Yeah, Rick, hey, that's what they do. Well, actually, the repo market is more for treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. Uh, but yeah, they could dump anything. That's what the Fed's been buying. They've been buying garbage just to keep the system going. That's what the ECB's done as well. The ECB also buys corporate bonds. It's really bad because it gives the economy bad signals. Eventually, it becomes a zombie economy and it will implode. Jan Marsh, shouldn't legal tender silver coins be VAT free? Well, there's a lot of things that should be, but yeah, in the UK, it's not. Um, but I don't think silver is legal tender because if it was legal tender, they wouldn't be able to put the VAT on it. Isabella, interbanking will get frozen soon. Well, the repo market is interbank. I guess LIBOR and that could freeze as well. But yeah, that's what it looks like. The other thing I was reading last week is about Thomas Cook, which is the a big travel company in the UK. The UK viewers will know about Thomas Cook, and one of the reasons why they're almost going under is because they couldn't get funding from their banks, and their banks are RBS and Lloyd's. So it could be those two banks are involved in the repo market. Maybe people are not lending to them, so they can't lend to Thomas Cook. So yeah, I think interbanking will be a problem, and the repo market is just a sign of that. Libertad, the Libertad coin. I do have a Mexican Libertad, Timothy. It's quite a big coin. Time will Mr. XYZ, thank you for the super chat donation. How bad do you think it'll get if it all implodes? Well, I think it will be Lehman '08 to the nth power because in '08, '09, they saved a system that should have been allowed to implode. And how do they do that? uh, Throwing everything at it, like all the furniture at it to keep it going. So when it comes down, it will be ugly. It doesn't mean that the world still will be out there. I don't want to be a fear doom person because things will not change in the real world. It's just the way the finance works, and that's why I hold on to my physical gold and silver. That's why I don't, that's for up to people, for people to decide that. The reason why I do that is because it has the best precious metals have the best track record going thousands of years, and there's no counterparty risk, right? The physical gold. Jeff Logue, if you're stacking gold and silver as a hedge against chaos, you will be wrong until the day you're right, and that day will be one day too late to start. Well, I mean, I've been buying physical gold and silver since 2002, and it has protected my savings. But I agree, you need to. It will be too late to buy once the currencies collapse. The dollar will collapse as well. Financing economics. European banks are in a miserable state. Yeah, but so probably are American banks. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think the European banks even more so because of the negative rates. It doesn't help the banking sector, right? So you're right. Pablo Pina, is there a possibility that the QE comes in November towards buying paper, gold, and silver derivatives, keeping prices down? It's possible. It's always possible, but I think if they bring in more QE, countries like Russia and China and other countries, they're going to keep buying physical gold. So it's going to be tough for them to keep the price under, suppressed. The umpires post. Eventually, the truth will crush the liars, deceivers, market manipulators, thieves, etc. When it happens, they usually won't admit the cause. Of course, they always try to pass the blame, right? I agree. TNT Travels, do you believe in a possible market crash before 2019 is over, or see the power of the beekeeping? Uh, there are some people that are pretty good at forecasting. They're out calling for a crash in October. It's always difficult to say. One thing, the stock market seems to be pegged now to the trade. You know, good news on trade with China, bad news. Uh, what I've seen now, though, is that things in Hong Kong are getting worse, like the demonstrations. And I think that the West is involved in triggering these riots in Hong Kong. And I don't think that's going to help the trade negotiations, because I'm sure the Chinese government know who's behind this in Hong Kong. So yeah, I think it could get ugly. I think the recession is already here, TNT. SW, I think, yeah, the Bank of England, I think they're waiting. They probably will start QE again, um, waiting for October 31st, maybe. Still a mess. Oh, Johnny Harlan from Carcassonne. I've been to Carcassonne a few years ago. Really nice, nice place. Uh, Johnny, I'm not sure if there's that much gold at Fort Knox. They do keep some gold also at West Point. There might be what they say there is there. The problem is that they've leased it out so many times. So legally, it might not belong to them. But yeah, that's a mystery, isn't it? We had Mnuchin went there. Was it last year or the year before? Was the first Secretary of the Treasury in decades to go there, and he held a piece of gold bar and gold is safe. Gold. No, he said gold is safe. He didn't say the gold is safe. He said gold is safe. Pat, because of the debt bubble, these problems have no solution. That's right. That's the thing. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. The fiat money debt system is dependent on ever growing money. And there's a point where you can increase the credit. And I think we're near there. And that's why we're seeing all these troubles. They call it the plumbing of Wall Street, right? The repo market. And that affects Europe as well. Don't think that it's just the US, the repo market. There's the repo market in London as well. They trade treasuries and dollars here. Annabelle Franks, do you still, yeah, Annabelle's father, do you still trade options? No, I don't. I did up until a year and a half ago, but I stopped it. I think it's options these days is so difficult to make money on it unless you sell the options and take the premium, and that's very risky. So because volatility is so low everywhere, and you have to time it perfectly. So no, I don't. I do love the reason why there's less risk. You know, you buy a put or a call, and you know how much you can. With futures, it's unlimited because yeah, the futures can move, and you have to pay margin. Cadmere, would the house prices go up or down with negative interest rates? Um, oh, looks like connection is unstable. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, SAC Media. I don't blame you for doing that. Don't blame you. Silver over 100 possible? Yeah, definitely. I don't know when, but it's definitely possible. Jonathan from Trinidad. Venezuela's financial collapse eventually wasn't overnight. It took years of slow degradation, then a fast crash. Yeah, it definitely could be the same for the US and the EU. It could be the same. Palladium, constant ask. Yeah, I mean, I don't follow palladium and platinum that much, but they are precious metals. Cryptos, I have been covering cryptos since I started the channel in the end of 2015. I think it's a good alternative to fiat, but it's very volatile. You have to be prepared to sit through a lot of volatility. So I do have cryptos. I'm more speculative. Yeah, Mark, heard about that. Well, I was actually playing golf and I had my phone in my golf bag. I usually don't take it on Sundays, but I took it out. I wasn't playing very well. And someone had sent me a link about the story, and I was shocked. And yeah, Glint in the UK, they've gone into administration. Glint Inc. in the US hasn't. I have spoken today with the guys at Glint. They said the money is ring fenced and the gold as well. There's going to be an announcement tomorrow. I'm disappointed. I'm shocked that they've gone into administration, but we need to wait to hear more tomorrow. I didn't have that much in my Glint card. I bought something on Amazon today and it worked. It just goes to show I have been endorsing Glint. But as I've said before, I prefer physical, of course. There's always counterparty risk. But Glint is regulated by the FCA. So, yes, they do keep, they don't lend clients funds, and they do keep it separate from their funds. So it should be safe. Uh, Jackham, should I take my money out of Glint? I personally would, even though they're still going to come out tomorrow and it should be safe. I would personally. Yeah, sorry about that, Peter Lemon. I'm not sure why. I think so. The Observator, Brexit, Hong Kong, and Kabuki, Iran, Kabuki. Yeah, it's all distractions, right? Like, what's his name? I bought this book, The Trigger by David Icke, and he talks about problem, reaction, and solution. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's to really cover the fact that the real culprit for the coming implosion of the financial system and the economy is really the monetary system. It's not, it's not Brexit. It's not the Hong Kong demonstrations. It's it's the monetary system. It's the central banks trying to rig everything. That's what's creating the problems. But they need to put the spotlight away from that. Yes, Sac Media, thank you. I feel bad though because you know I'm not happy with the guys there because they went into administration on Wednesday. They could have told me, but anyway, we just move on. Yeah, David Icke is good. I've been reading and listening to David Icke for years, probably over 10 years. My wife used to think I was crazy to listen to him, but guess what? Now she's listening to him and she's saying, "Wow, this guy, what he's saying makes a lot of sense." General Electric, yeah, yeah, I've seen the not very closely, but I have watched recently. The situation is not great. General Electric, John Morris asks. End the Fed. Yeah, I've got an End the Fed T-shirt on tonight. Boom, bubble, and burst. Keynes was a very bad and shameful man. Well, I don't want to judge him personally, but his economic philosophy wasn't great. I mean, he thought. I think he was part of like the establishment, and he thought that they should run things right. That the market and the general public is not good enough to know what's best, and that's the whole problem with government intervention and what it's done. The Keynesian philosophy, they've done so much intervention that they can't. They've and yeah, there's a lot to say for a lot of blame to put on the Keynesian philosophy. I think he said as well in one of his books in the introduction in 1936 that the Keynesian government intervention is more suited to an authoritarian government like the German government. So there you go. That was in the 30s. Yeah, Michael Rupert. Uh, I think he's passed away. Wasn't he like in the L.A. Police Department? The umpires post thumbs up. Keep up the good work. God bless and take care. Thank you. The Earth is flat. Jay Constant. Yeah, this has been around for a while. The flat Earth thing, last few years. Yeah, the thing about Keynesian economics is that it's led to the belief that governments can run their fiscal affairs like irresponsibly, while we as individuals, you know, can't do that. And if government is like a reflection of the public, they should also run things. How can I say, in a tight way? Uh, yeah, they think that debt is a good thing, a national debt, that you have to have a national debt, but it's all inverted, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know why there's never any leaks about Scientology, Yvonne. Not sure. Rupert Butler, why are commercials always net short silver? They're net short, not net long short. Uh, well, because they, yeah, that's the way they've been, the commercials, the bullion banks, because they've been manipulating, controlling, trying to control the price. That's on the COMEX. Thoughts on hotel trend? Is Glint bust? Must have been a scam. Uh, well, the English company, Glint Pay in the UK, went into administration Wednesday. Uh, I'm not sure about the scam, but the money is segregated. Also, the gold. Glint Pay Inc. in the U.S. has not gone into administration. They're going to make an announcement tomorrow. I agree with you. That's I have promoted Glint and I have a promo code, but I've always said that I prefer physical. It's a shame. I'm not sure what went on there. Yeah, it's like Chapter 11 administration. Yeah, maybe not enough customers. They've spent a lot of money creating the infrastructure. I'm not sure, but we'll have to wait. Tomorrow there will be an announcement. Tomorrow morning, London, I think. Yeah, Bill Perry. If you go into my channel, this last week I've made several videos about the JP Morgan bankers. Can you guys hear Billy? He's snoring. Zealot Patriot. Yeah, the Fed is basically yeah, 75 billion per day, but it's not new 75 every day. I've explained that. These repos, they're overnight, which means it's a loan that against collateral that matures every day. So it's not like if they do it for 10 days, it doesn't mean they've created 750 billion. They've just created 75 and they've rolled it over. I've noticed that a lot of people are saying, "Oh, last week they've done 250 billion." They didn't, because if you renew it every day, it's just 75 billion, right? But they've announced that they're going to do two repos, which are term repos, for another 50 billion. So it's going to be a total of 125. I think it's really important to keep an eye on this repo situation because it could be the first crack in the system, the crack that starts the everything bubble crash. Sam Spiller, climate change is going to wipe out financial markets. I haven't watched that movie, Bowling Tune, Hotel Transylvania. There isn't a limit to how much QE the Fed can do. They well, there probably is because they need to find things to buy, right? So they can't say we're going to do 1,000 trillion because they'd have to buy everything in the world, right? So there is a limit. Isabella, the 2-10 U.S. Yield spread is around 3 basis points positive. So it is inverted. I think it went up to 8 basis points. So no, it's not inverted at the moment. But of course, the 3 month to the 10-year is. SW, if you don't have that much in Glint, I would spend it on the card. Yeah, because you can still do it. That's what I did. But your money, or you could try to send it to the bank as well. Put it into whatever your currency is. But if you don't have that much, just buy something you need online. October 11th. Not sure. Climate tech, should we buy Bitcoin or gold and silver? As I've said before, I do have Bitcoin and some other cryptos. Um, it's up to you for people to do their homework. I think cryptos are better than fiat. Not all of them, of course. There are some coins that are questionable. Uh, I have more precious metals than cryptos, but cryptos I think could go a long way. Just putting a little bit into it. RGM, bought gold coins from my bank, never checked the quality. Should have I? Um, in the UK, we can't buy gold coins from banks. Yeah, maybe you should, but I'm not sure where you are, RG. How do you store crypto? Well, you should have your own private wallet. You shouldn't store it with an exchange. You should look into that. There's a lot on the internet about that. Australia claims to be in surplus. Yeah, the government, the Australian government has a surplus, but Aussies themselves, I think, have a lot of debt, personal debt. All right, I'll take a couple of a few more questions, then we'll call it a day. Yeah, Blue Hawaii, be your own banker, physical, precious metals, crypto. No to little debt. I agree. Having trouble getting stock certificates. Yeah, they don't like doing stock certificates anymore. It's all electronic. The DTCC, right? That's the company. Yeah, or whatever. I think it's a bad sign for the trade deal. Fact that things are kicking off again in Hong Kong, because I think the West is kind of involved in fomenting these riots. I've seen I've watched True News. I highly recommend True News, TRU News. They've talked about someone who sent a video from Hong Kong showing how these rioters, the protesters are mostly peaceful, but there's a few bad apples, who are actually being paid even by Western NGOs. So I think it's gonna probably hurt the trade negotiations, because the Chinese know who's behind what's going on in Hong Kong. They're not going to be very happy. German bank, RG. I think the German banks are, you know, reputable, but you should always check. The observatory, will the ECB under Lagarde introduce crypto? Well, they might introduce something that they call crypto, but it's like a non sequitur to say that central banks can't have cryptos, because cryptos are supposed to be decentralized. So how can a central bank that loves centralized power actually issue a crypto? If they do, don't buy into it, in my opinion. No more news. I like that as well. Bill Perry. Tony Ellis, you're welcome. Jeff Logue unsubbed from True News a year ago. I like True News. You're welcome, David. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you for participating in the live stream and for all the questions. And I hopefully I answered as many questions as possible. And I wish you all a great rest of the weekend. Or if you're in Asia, a great beginning of the week. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.